Folks, if you take a seat, please, we'll get started. In accordance with section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, chapter 231, public law 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board at Town Hall, serving the original designated newspapers a list of the meeting times, dates annually, indicating this meeting would take place at the Millville Board of Education Center at 7 p.m. on June 8th, 2026.
David Bradford,
Here.
Roy Yu,
Here.
Beth Knoll. Here. Neil Mino Roberts.
Here.
Stephen Cohen.
Here.
Gary Rosen.
Here.
Rick Wagner.
Here. We're gonna open up with approval of minutes of 3/16/26. Who's available on those?
David, Gary, Beth, Roy, Mino, Stephen, Craig.
Great, and who, any corrections or changes?
The only correction was I inadvertently left Beth's name on the agenda. She was here, came in late and said. Thanks.
Okay, then with that correction, anything further? If not, can I have a motion?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next we have, the minutes of 4/13/26. Any changes on those people?
Gary, Roy, Beth, Neil Mino, Steve, Craig.
Okay. Any corrections or changes? Okay, can I have a motion? Thank you, Ryan. Second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next we have 3 memorializations, starting with calendar 40/69/26, Samson Yang, 23 Cypress Street in Millburn. Who's available?
Gary, Roy, Beth, Neil Mino, Steve, Craig.
Is it 25 Cypress or 23? I apologize.
So, yeah.
No,
I
it's-
remember it being 25. I'm sorry for not bringing it up sooner.
What do I have on?
It's 23.
It is 25.
I have 25.
It is 25.
Correction, 25.
Wow, very
Very
nice.
Good call.
Wow.
Paying attention. 25 Cypress Street.
No, I don't want to
In Millburn, any corrections or changes? If not, can I have a motion?
I'll move to
approve.
second.
Second on that.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Roy Yu.
Yeah.
Beth Knoll.
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts.
Yeah.
Stephen Cohen.
Yes.
Rick Wagner.
Yes. Next up, we have calendar 40/72/26. Warren Jin, 384 Weatherbridge Road in Short Hills. Who's available?
Same people.
Same people, okay. Any corrections or changes? Not have a vote.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. In a second. Thanks.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Roy Yu.
Yes.
Beth Knoll.
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts.
Yes.
Steve Cohen.
Yes.
Rick Wagner.
Yes. Last year, calendar 40/75/26, selective insurance, 103 JFK Parkway. Same people? Any corrections or changes? Otherwise, no motion. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Only no second.
Voices will be. Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Roy Yu.
Yes.
Beth Knoll.
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts.
Yes.
Steve Cohen.
Yes.
Rick Wagner.
Yes. Okay, starting applications, we have, so one quick announcement I want to make to everyone. We'll be wrapped tonight by 10 o'clock. Okay, we have to be out of this building per the Board of Education. They've told us now that we must be out of this building. So no later than 10:30. So by the time we clean everything up and get everything out of here, so just know that that's where it's going to be. Unfortunately, normally we would push it as late as we possibly could go. But due to overtime and some other constraints, that's how it's going to be tonight and actually going forward. So with that, calendar 40/80/26, Rebecca Spicehandler, 33 Woodbury.
Yeah. How's it going?
Good.
My name is Connor Quinn.
Great, one
Hold on a
second.
second.
I want to talk to Tim real quick.
Hold on.
So tonight, Tim, you have Spicehandler, Fields and Sue.
Yes.
Okay, so one quick adjustment we're gonna make to the agenda. Biswas will go after Sue, so we're gonna hear all 3 cases from Mr. Plessy, and then we'll go to 14 Rawway Road. Go ahead, we're gonna swear you in. You both
We do.
speak?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just, do you swear a firm testimony you're about to give in tonight, this being the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
Your names for the record, please.
Timothy Klesky.
I'm Connor Quinn.
Who'd like to speak first?
Rebecca's his.
Rebecca, my wife.
I
To clarify that.
I just,
Yeah,
My name is Connor, nice to meet you all. We just moved into 33 Windermere Terrace in the middle of last year from New York City. My wife grew up in Fort Hills, so bit of a homecoming for us. It's a great property. We love the home. We're really excited to be here in this market. We're excited that we got a house, let alone one this beautiful. The one thing we did want to change about the property was we wanted to add a fence. We have 2 young children at this point, and we happen to be located across from a pond in our neighbor's property, which has a partial fence covering it, but not fully. Drowning is the leading cause of death for children 1 to 4. Obviously, we plan to supervise our children at all times, but for that added layer of safety to avoid any accidents, we feel much more comfortable having a fence around the property. As Tim can walk you through, the side yard of our fence, we're on a corner lot to make this clear. The side yard of our fence, which faces Lakeview Road, already has a large portion of privacy, shrubbery, and trees. So the fence would be running along that. And as Tim can attest, we would plant additional trees to minimize the impact of any sort of fence on the eye line from the street for our neighbors.
thank you.
so Connor did a pretty good job explaining what's going. So, the idea is it's a corner lot.
Tim, why don't we get you
Oh, I'm sorry.
qualified?
Yeah, go ahead.
briefly? So why don't you just provide your credentials, areas of expertise and licensure?
Yes, I'm
Field
a
of
licensed
architecture.
architect in the state of New Jersey and been licensed for approximately 30 years and my license is good scan.
Thank you. Have you appeared in front of us before?
Yes,
Once, but
well, a couple of times.
great, thanks.
The,
Qualifications are set.
you guys all have this BOA 1 sheet. And this one that I have in front of you is exactly the same. It's, the site is in the middle. There's the pond across the street from our house, which is it's a really pretty old house. I don't know if you got a chance to go by it, but it's a gorgeous house. And it's great that these guys bought it because they're really going through cleaning it up and fixing it up inside. And they're leaving the outside really the way it is, but they're gonna really clean up the inside. We're starting the kitchen now and then we're gonna walk up to the master bedroom. We have a lot of work to do in this house. There's a whole bunch of formal gardens in the back. I mean, it's a beautiful site. I don't know. You could see it on, even if you looked at it on Google Maps, it's gorgeous. So the idea is there is partially a fence running along the back property, but we would like to add a new aluminum fence along the back that basically looks like that sort of 4 inches apart, aluminum fence where the trees can grow through it. So it's really concealed. And then we come up, now we're on the Lakeview side, which is really for us a front yard. They want to run it down, and I ran it behind all the existing shrubbery. And if you look kind of closely at what I drew, all the darkened in shrubbery is new shrubbery, which I put in to fill the voids between. And I looked at this, it's been going on for a long time, so I actually looked at it over the winter. So I think I saw it in the worst case. Like now, if you probably went down it now, it's probably all foliated in, but when I went through, I spotted locations that needed additional shrubbery. And then we wanted to come across the front to tie it back into the house. And when I did that, there's some existing shrubbery there, and I put in other decorative shrubbery to kind of conceal the fence. So we were trying to encompass the property really with a 4-foot high open fence. When the site becomes a front yard, it's right when I pass the plane of the building. So this area for me is really a side yard, the fence is conforming. But as soon as I get forward of the building, I need a variance to put the fence up. This would also allow them to come back and put a pool in at a later date if they wanted to. We just figured we'd come and attack this problem all at once.
What's the height of the fence? 4 feet in all locations?
4 feet. Yeah, in the back,
In the back too?
no, in the back, we go to 4'6". But it's actually in a conforming area.
But all linear locations that are in the defined front yard are gonna be, the height's gonna be no greater than 4 feet, correct?
Yes, everything in the front yard is 40.
So Tim, the fence is gonna run outside all the existing shrubbery, and all the new shrubbery is inside the fence towards the house, right?
Yes, the fence is
So I was gonna say, if you run it
inside
outside the
the
existing
shrubbery.
if you run it outside the existing shrubbery, there's really no room to put anything between that and the road.
Yeah. We left the existing shrubbery, pulled the fence in. It's probably. Well, I only had to pull the fence in about 6 feet to do this. Because remember, there's the right of way, there's the 10 feet that the town owns. So we, off the street, we're about 15 feet back. Because I came in about 5 feet to clear the planting. You know, and we couldn't have gone, we can't go on the right of way.
Right.
You know, anyway. And then I planted our new planting inside. Any questions or?
Yeah, where the fence hits the house on the side of the house, which is technically the front yard. How far back from the front of the house is that?
8 feet.
Any questions from the board?
Is there gonna be any planning testimony on this, or is it?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you. Tell us about, I think there was something in the application materials about other properties in the area also having front yard fences.
Well, it's true, the property across the street has a partial front yard. And you can actually see I located the fence on the plan. Up
And how tall is that fence?
in 4 foot,
And that's the one circling the pond, correct?
yes. It circles it, but
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
really contain it.
Perfect.
That's it.
Yeah, drive, yes, drive it.
Do any other neighboring properties?
Yeah,
besides-
I'm gonna say there's,
Yeah,
I know there's one up at the corner, there is.
yeah, I walk to the train every day, so there's a number of corner properties on Windermere Terrace, and most of those corner properties, there's particularly the ones that back, there's one, the front of the house, Business Hobart, their whole backyard is the corner of Honeston and Windermere, so that's fully fenced in. The neighbor across the street from that house as well, also has a corner lot, also has a front yard fence that's enclosing there. What's used by them as a backyard, well, I would say there's at least, on my walk to the train from my house, down Windermere, which is not a particularly large street, there's at least 4.
That's what I counted when I walked up.
No, keep me on it.
But we're trying to do a fence that is, you know, almost invisible. You know, we're not trying to build a white picket fence.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? The testimony you heard? Any comments regarding this application from the audience? In that case, I'll close the public portion of this application. Board members, your thoughts?
I'll go first. As I say, I counted 4 or 5, and then plus that one you pointed out in the corner of Hobart, which is very obtrusive, actually. I think with the vegetation here that you're doing, it's not pushing out onto Windermere. I'm inclined.
Thank you. Any thoughts on board members?
Well, I think the pond is an attractive nuisance, for young kids, so I think it's a safety issue as well, and so I would be supportive.
I'll be supportive too, for this safety reason. Thank you.
Me too.
In that case, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Roy Yu,
Yes.
Beth Wall,
Yes.
Rowena Roberts.
Yes.
Steve Cohen,
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Frank Bentley.
Yes, good luck with the project.
Thank
Good luck.
you. Thanks.
Next up, we have calendar 408226, 72 Gilman.
So,
Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give in today's proceeding the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? State your names for the record.
Timothy Plesky, Josh Fields.
Thank you.
We'll waive the qualifications as you've already been qualified, okay, in your previous testimony, but if you'd like to speak, please feel free.
Yes, I'm Josh Fields. I live at 72 Greenwood Drive. We've been there for 17 years now. Our project, I think, is pretty straightforward and basic. We're adding a master bath because our current master bath is extremely small. I had kind of given it to my wife to use, and I've been using the whole bath. I've been sharing with my son, who's now a teenager. So if you guys are familiar with teenage boys getting to be a bit much at this point, to a breaking point, so we are pulling the trigger on a new master bath. The master bath, existing master bath, is so small that we are converting it into a closet, a walk-in closet, but it's really too small to even a closet, a walk-in closet, so we're adding 5 feet to separate section of the front of the house, as you'll see on the plans. And I think that's it, that's really it.
So it's 72 Greenwood. It's a Tudor revival, I guess built in the probably late 30s, I think, looks it to me. I think that whole neighborhood kind of went up around there. Tonight, what we are hoping to do, on my BOA 1 sheet, and this is Greenwood. And we're hoping to add on the left side over an existing enclosed porch. And that would enable us to build the bathroom. And then we have a small addition in the front where the existing bathroom is, to kind of turn that into a closet. Now, I'm going to turn to my first page, and I've actually rotated the plan 180 degrees. Just to, this is something that really used to get Joe Steinberg upset. But my first floor, because we think the front door should always face it. So on the first floor, on the left side over here is the porch. We called it a den in this case. They use it as a little TV room. And it's existing at about 7 feet off of the property line. On the second floor, we want to add over that den space. And we still have that 7-foot setback. And then add this area in front where we have, oh, you can't see it, where we have kind of renovated the bathroom that was there and pushed that over. The front work all conforms. The only variance we're seeking is for side yard setback, which is, required to be 8 feet, and it's existing at 7.5. And then side combined setback.
But wait, before you go to side combined,
Yeah.
says here, additional side yard setback required 8.3. Is it 8 or 8.3? So we can, yeah.
Well, then, okay, I'll do the first one. I'll stay with
Oh,
the form that I use now.
You're talking about you're talking about the side yard setback.
Yeah, I
up to
went out of
18
order.
feet. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go to back to that,
Okay,
inside,
yeah.
the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
The first variance, the side yard exists at 7.5. The proposed is 7.5. Required is 8 feet. So that request is for half a foot. But that's extending an existing non-conforming condition as we go vertically. The second variance is the additional height above that 18-foot. And show it to you. Here, I'm on my BOA 3 sheet. And you can see when I come up with the line, that's that 6-inch deviation on the first floor and the second floor. And then there's a small area that's just above the 18-foot that is getting caught before or as I start to move to go to 16-foot at 32 feet high. It's that small little, it's that small little triangle right where the gutter is. Okay? And you can notice that what we did is we hit the roof back at this point to respect that kind of the ordinance wants us to come back. So that is the additional side yard setback of 0.8 feet. Okay, so this is, I'm just gonna say again, it's 0.8, it's not 8 feet, so. I'm only saying that because a lot of times I say this, it's a lot bigger than this. And then the third item is side combined. That is, I can go back to my survey. The existing left side, worst condition. The proposed right side, worst condition. The allowable side combined for this lot is 24.5 feet. The existing side combined is 14.23. So the existing is short by, it's only 20.3%, right? It's short by 14.7%. Our proposed is actually the same as the existing. So we're asking for a variance to really to extend above the porch to extend the non-conforming condition of the two side yards. Right? Nothing is actually being increased here. Or, well, I shouldn't say that. The middle variance is being actually increased because that's height wasn't there before. We added the second. So we actually have created that middle one. But the other two are really extensions of existing conditions. Now I went and I surveyed the house next door in the winter, which I was gonna retake the photos, and I thought maybe the winter photos are good because they kind of show the worst condition. But now everything looks different with all the green. But our neighbor immediately, oh, I'm sorry.
I don't call that, because I don't believe it was in the application.
No, it's not.
Right? So A1, with today's date of the 8th of June. And it's a series of 4 photos. When did you take those photos?
I took them in January of 26.
Okay. You took them yourself?
Yes,
And they accurately depict what you saw at the time?
yes, and when I went by again today, it still accurately depicts the condition. But the neighbor, I think the best photo,
So let's just get some orientation.
yeah,
Do you have anything on your plan, Tim, that shows where
I can
this
tell,
house is relative to the subject property?
yes, if you take a look at. Or I could tag it.
Why don't you just point to it?
I'm gonna flip my survey upside down.
Okay.
You look at photo A. Photo A is actually taken right on Greenwood Drive, it's straight ahead. And you can see this house that is on the angle, the corner of the house is actually that split level house that's right there on the left, which is going to, what's it, Oval? Yes, Oval, right, it goes up Oval right there. And it, you know, this area was added in the 60s. So that house is kind of cocked to us, which creates a large amount of open space.
Is there
between the two
is it
houses.
encroaching on the property line?
This one,
Yeah.
this house?
Yeah.
No, it's about, I think it's about 12 feet off the property line.
Oh, okay.
Right. We are 7.5 feet, and then from there to this corner, that corner that you see there is another 12 feet. So I'd say the total is, 19 feet. Then that house is kind of cocked on an angle because Oval takes off on a little angle to the left. Then when I came to photo B, I got a little closer to the condition, and it's a little deceiving because it almost looks as if this angle is on the same plane as the front of this building. But this is actually pushed back about 25 feet. There's a large spread between these two buildings, and there's a lot of foliage that's even there in the winter. Our addition that we're proposing is right there over this building. So I'm sort of saying that this site can absorb this addition really because the other house is actually on an angle and not really pushing into this lot in any way at all. It's not like we're straight on. Then if I come on with my photo, this is just a photo of the front of our existing building. And on the right side, or on my photo D is the right side where we have no work. It's just the existing condition. So I would say that this site can absorb the added bulk. And I know I'm always really concerned about when we go into a side yard, the bulk going into the side yard. But in this case, with this house on the left side being sort of twisted to the property, really, we have a large amount of area between the two. And I think it actually be no detriment at all to the streetscape. Let's say. Unique
Tough to see from
situation.
here, but that's their driveway and a chimney. Is that what I'm looking at, upper right hand picture?
This is their driveway. This is actually, this is their driveway in there. There's like a chimney in their family.
You spoke to the orientation of the house, are there windows on the house that would be
Well, not really. It's
visible
really,
from the windows?
this is
of the
really
house?
their garage. There's one window up here. I guess there's nothing in the family room. And I'm not sure, but there's probably a window, in the front.
The new space is gonna really look at sort of the back and side where they meet on the neighbor's house, so not even really facing anything.
Mhm.
Oval is kind of really forked to the property. I don't know, do you know what room is up there?
No, I'm not in that house, but.
So I think you can really see here how the gap is very wide between the two. And it's not like everything's lined up like in, over in Glenwood. I'm under on lot coverage, way under on lot coverage, I'm under on FAR, under on building coverage. I think building coverage is very low.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience regarding this application? Comments from the audience? Then I'll close the public portion. Board members, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it's an egregious ask, I think it's, understandable to convert, I think the hip roof addresses, it still kicks into variance territory, but I think it's at least it attempts to address it, and I think, continuing in pre-existing non-conforming side yard setback is, it's unfortunate, but I think the testimony addresses the proximity to the neighbors, feel comfortable.
Yeah, I would agree. I think where it's being placed on the property is not, doesn't do any of the neighbors, so I would be okay with it.
And Tim, just to confirm, the footprint of the building's not changing.
That's correct.
So, I thought,
Any other comment? Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Roy New,
Yes.
Scott Stoll,
Yes.
Romeo Roberts.
Yes.
Steve Cohen.
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
and Fender.
Yes.
Good luck with Roger, you tried to ask, do you get back into the master bathroom now?
Absolutely.
No.
I'm gonna carve out a big shot.
I noticed your wife wasn't here. Okay.
I think the heavy lift.
Thank you.
Next up, we're gonna calendar 4326, that's 72 Whitney. Staying with Mr. Captain.
So we're gonna testify if you.
Hang on 1 second, so Barry, I'll back a little.
Okay, whoever's gonna testify, if you just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give in tonight's proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Sure.
Mallory Clark.
Timothy Klessy.
Rahul Sood.
Who does it?
Okay, who would like to talk first?
Good evening and thank you. My name is Rahul Sood and along with my wife, Pooja Sood, we are representing from 72 Green Road. You will hear from Tim and Mallory in a little bit about.
Excuse me 1 second. Folks, I need you to be quiet in the audience, please. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
You will hear from Tim and Mallory about about the small changes we are proposing in why it fits. So I would just like to share briefly why this matters to us so much. We moved here in July 2022 and we fell in love with this neighborhood and the moment we saw it. What drew us wasn't just the house, it was the sense of tight-knit community where neighbors actually know and help each other. This is the Moldwood neighborhood. This past Friday, we were at the block party, 2 houses down at Patty and husband's house and sharing laughs with people. Now we now think as friends. Over the last 4 years, this has become a home in every sense of the word to us. When we bought the house, our kids were 4 and 8. Since then, our family has grown, not in number we planned for, but in the best way. After my mom passed away, my father came to live with us. So now we are a family of 5 and a dog. The best part of that has been watching our children and their grandfather together. Nearly every night before bed, they pile into his room. He tells them stories, he shares his life experiences, they play games, and he gives them little lessons about life. But his room is so small that it only fits a full bed, but one size smaller than 2. With barely space for the 3 of them. Giving him a real room isn't about square footage to us, it's about protecting the time, finding time. The rest is simpler. Our daughter has outgrown her small room and is now sharing a bathroom with her brother. The kids are now 8 and 12. My wife works from home. She uses the guest bedroom as the office. Her mom comes and stays with us for extended periods of time, during which time she gets displaced and she's constantly squatting either on the kitchen table or dining table to work. As the kids have grown, the house we loved has just gotten a little bit tight around us. There's a definitive use to every room in our house at the moment. We could have gone looking for something bigger somewhere else. We don't want to because we don't want to leave this neighborhood or the community that we become a part of. These smallest additions are what would help us stay in this house and in this neighborhood. We're grateful for your consideration, and with that, I would pass it over to Tim and Mallory.
Thank you very much. Mr. Plessis, you've been previously qualified, so. Very.
Okay, so R6 zone, right over on Whitney Road, I'm not gonna go through the zoning really too much because Mallory will really handle that for us. The only variance we're seeking tonight is for FAR. Everything else is conforming. And this is, there's no new footprint to the house, this is adding on the 2nd floor. But on my BOA 1 sheet, here's Whitney in the front. And we're adding a small addition on the 2nd floor on the right side. It's about 5 feet wide. And that's to increase the bedroom for the parents or for his father. And then in the rear, on the left side, we're adding on to create a bathroom and an office space. Or the office space accessible off of the primary bed. Now, on my first floor plan, on my BOA 2 sheet, there's no change, nothing at all. On my second floor, the BOA 3 sheet, we can see our 5-foot addition that comes out to make that bedroom a little bigger for their father. And then you see where the bedroom ended, and we put in a bathroom so that we could get rid of the Jack and Jill, because we have a boy and a girl sharing a Jack and Jill here. So we added a bathroom, then rebuilt the bedroom, then added the office off of the primary. All of this is happening with over a building below, and all of it conforms to all of the zoning. You can see all my zoning lines coming in on the side. We even we missed the added building height variance as we got between 18 and 32 by pushing the building in. That is my little 5-foot addition on the front of the building. And then the other addition is in the rear behind. And you can see it on my left side elevation, how we just added to the dormer and then added another dormer to do it. So we just scaled everything right into the house. When I come into the rear elevation, you can see how we just built a little gable and added a dormer. Like we took that roof that was driving down and just dormered it, lifted it up. The right side addition is the bedroom addition on the second floor. So we really tried to scale these little additions into this building in the tightest possible way that we could do it, so we could fit the program and, you know, not make the bulk big in the neighborhood. And with that, I'm gonna, well, I don't know, are there any questions I should ask first? Before I get out of document? I'm just gonna give it to Mallory.
We're gonna qualify you, Mallory, okay?
Sure. Good evening, Mallory Parker, Dresner Robin.
You're sworn in,
Oh, sworn in.
yeah, just qualifications.
License is current and in good standing. I've been a licensed planner in New Jersey since 2021, practicing in planning and urban design in New York City Metro since 2016. My undergraduate degree is in landscape architecture from Clemson University, master's degree in city and regional planning from Rutgers.
And you presented in front of this board before, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please continue.
I have an exhibit to pass out, so I don't know if this is A1 or A2.
I think we have do you have an A1?
I don't know if you guys mark those.
No. I mean, this is A1.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick description of the property here, but just to refresh, we're at block 1207, lot 40. Address
Mallory, just hold on 1 second. So let's just, if you can just describe before you get started, just what A1 is.
Yeah, this is the planning presentation, so this is just to supplement my testimony.
It's a 3-page
PDF.
planning presentation. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. So we're at block 1207, lot 40, address is 72 Whitney. We are in the R6 zoning district, which is a single family zoning district, and a single family use exists on the site. Minimum lot areas are 6,000 square feet. We are beyond that at a little over 10,000 square feet. I think actually 10,625 square feet for our lot area. And we really are only seeking relief for one variance here tonight, which is the D4 floor area variance. You can see on the table on the first slide there that all of our square footage that we're proposing to add is on the second floor. It's a total of 297 additional square feet. That's split between the two spaces that Tim had discussed. I do want to just point you to the photographs. These are Google Earth photographs dated 2026, so they are current this calendar year. And I think they give a good sense of, from the street, how little impact these additions would have on the appearance of the property from the right of way. If you look at the upper left photo, you can see there's some mature tree canopy on the left side of the house that will really prevent, even from an angle, a view of the second floor addition that's anchored towards the rear of the property. And then from the other image that's kind of angled from the right, looking at the front of the building, you can get that sense over the outer garage door where the projection would be for the smaller addition to the bedroom. The second slide there just kind of shows you these areas in plan. So the purple area towards the rear is the office and bathroom, and then the orange area is what would be over that garage, in addition to the bedroom. I also just called these out in the elevations on the next page for you to see a little bit more clearly and get a sense of how minimal visibility will be from every angle of the property. So the front has, again, just like minimal adjustments to the roof line with the dormer and the small projection over the garage. And for the larger portion of the renovation, which is that office space, it's really anchored at the rear. So that's where the impacts for the rear would be. I think it's a good consideration here because we are on the bend of Whitney, this property. So the block starts to angle and the block behind us is actually a cul-de-sac, which goes through a kind of circular angle. So the properties aren't like cleanly rear yard to rear yard. Everything's kind of skewed from one another and the buildings don't line up directly. So I think that also helps with any kind of potential view impacts. And then I do just want to point out that both of these portions of the additions are on two different sides of the building and also are within the existing footprint. So we're just extruding up. We're not projecting the building out into the side yards any more than it already exists. I did run an FAR analysis. You can see the table on the last sheet here. So there are several properties that are existing non-conforming in terms of FAR. Just for this quick summary, we have about a 0.358 existing FAR, and with the addition would land at a 0.386, where 0.36 is permitted. And then you can see the bolded properties are all the properties that exist within the study area, the immediate corridor that are over the maximum permitted 0.36. The lot sizes vary pretty significantly in this neighborhood, and again, I think that's because of that curvature of the block and the fact that some of these lots get a little bit more depth as the road curves. But essentially, I think one of the big considerations for the board in weighing the D4 here tonight, which as the board of course is aware, case law really calls for you to weigh an FAR variance based on the site's ability to accommodate any impacts associated with the extra bulk. And this is kind of like my A+ FAR case because there are no additional bulk variances triggered through the additional floor area. Usually when I'm evaluating this variance, I'm really looking at what are the waterfall effects, and usually you'll pick up a couple extra bulk variances because you're asking and seeking to add additional square feet on the property. But the fact that we're maintaining compliant building coverage, compliant lot coverage, compliant side yard setbacks, I think I'll speak to the fact that the property can sufficiently handle the additional square footage, and the fact that we're not actually changing the building line from a floor plate perspective at the ground floor also I think underscores that. I did review the master plan for consistency. As the board again is, I'm sure, very aware, the single family home districts have a very clear goal of maintaining scale and character. And as I just described, I do think that the addition does so and allows the functionality of the home to really serve the user and the owner as needed without having any substantial detriment to the character of the corridor. Really not an excessively bulky addition, and the fact that it's split between two sides of the property and two different facades helps to really dissipate the impact. And then lastly, I would just say that I do believe we're advancing several purposes of the MLUL with the project, such as Purpose A, which is to encourage municipal action in the appropriate use of development for general welfare. Purpose C, provide adequate light, air, and open space. As I stated, there are no additional bulk variances sought with this FAR variance. And Purpose E, to promote establishment of appropriate population densities. Additionally, I think Purpose I, which is a desirable visual environment, would be appropriate in this application as well. I do think aesthetically, the addition blends in very well with the existing structure and neighborhood, matching all the existing materials. So I don't think you'll even really be able to discern or point out from the right of way both his when his project is complete. With that, I do think we've satisfied the positive and negative criteria under the D4, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are you concerned, Ms. Clark, about the fact that, with lots 38, 39, and 41, the ones that are, you know, most, that are closest to the subject property, have FARs that are significantly less than what you're proposing?
I'm not, because those are the properties, when I was speaking to how we're located on that curve, which really follows the Conrail right of way for those rear yards of those properties you just mentioned. It's really just that those properties become way deeper than typical, so I'm not surprised that someone didn't choose to build a exceptionally deep home. It's just, you know, when, at the time period that Millburn was developed and most of these homes were constructed, houses came in very standard footprints and standard sizes, and people slowly expanded those over time to meet temporary needs. So most of those rear yards are not even heavily utilized and are actually like pretty heavily wooded, likely to buffer the impacts of the train running there.
Thank you.
Mallory, and the other times you presented here, you raised the issue that it was difficult to determine the square footage with much accuracy, with the accuracy of light. Were you able to determine these more accurately than you have in the past, or did you run into the same problem?
Same methodology, and I think some of that is a little bit of the product of the way FAR is defined within your ordinance, because there are some ceiling height regulations then get partial credit for square footage, so you have to trust the tax card, and I don't get a three-dimensional view of exactly where those roof lines hit a certain height, so I'm making, you know, educated guess and a uniform guess for any instance of that. So I think they're accurate enough that I don't think the metrics would be drastically different because I'm weighting them all in the same proportions.
Yeah, I don't think it would either, because you're, this is the largest property, and this is the largest square footage in your center. And it's going to be even bigger.
Right.
And that's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, and again, I think that for me, if I had seen that and then we were here asking for a lot coverage and a building coverage variance and other bulk relief in addition to that, I would be a little bit more concerned about whether the site could handle that square footage and whether we're starting to cross into substantially detrimental impacts, because we are not needing to trigger any additional relief with that square footage. I think it's just kind of reinforces that it's strategically located within the property in a way where there are not substantially detrimental impacts.
But from a planning perspective, I mean, when I look at this and we have a lot that's almost 2x the requirement, okay? We're still going over the FAR. How do you think it's beneficial to the zoning plan and master plan?
So I think it's a product of the master plan really calls for, again, like consistency in character, and consistency in scale. And I don't think that when you walk down the street, you look at this property and go, what is this monster house? You know, that's like it's really a public perception thing when you're in a single family context. To me, is you can kind of identify who sticks out like a sore thumb. And even with these additions, and I think that the elevations really are helpful in that sense, because you can see how from the front elevation, the views are really minimal of what's going to be added. I don't think you're going to get any kind of impact as a layperson who says like, this doesn't belong to my neighborhood. This isn't, you know, what the character of Millburn is about. I think it really blends in nicely. It complements the existing architecture, and I think it replicates kind of the character that's important to the property in terms of that varying roof line, the pitched and peaked roofs in the dormers, and then the window fenestration as well.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? Maybe to Mr. Sood, you mentioned you've spoken to your neighbors about this. Have you let them know? Like, do they know? Are they aware of it? Obviously, they received the notice, but.
Yes, so while we were at the block party on Friday evening, spoke with our neighbors who were at 74 Whitney, so immediately to our left. Our neighbor who's 70 Whitney, Mr. Farouk, who's to our right. Patty and Huston, who are 66 Whitney, there's no 68 Whitney as far as I can tell, so 70, 66, and then 64. I spoke with all of them, they're all supportive, call them all dear friends. And 70 Whitney and 66 Whitney have really deep lots.
Right.
The backyards are massive, that's why we chose to do the block party there. We just have to do it.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience for any of the testimony that you've heard? Any comments from the audience regarding this application? Anything further?
Thank you.
So the board, the D4 variance requires 5 affirmative votes. We have seven board members, so the applicant needs to go 5 for 7 to proceed.
Close the public portion. Go first on this one. While I don't love seeing an FAR variance on a lot that's so oversized, so you're getting it kind of twice, you get to bite the apple twice in a way. I don't love that, but what I actually do like is the addition of the front of the house. You know, this house looks like someone built it to like really conform to the FAR, but they nipped and tucked and pinched and did some strange things where you have this, you know, this sloping roof over that second garage bed. I don't think that's great, really aesthetically pleasing, and I think this actually makes it look better by filling that in and not having that odd sloping roof. It does actually make, I think, the house appear nicer from the street. And as for the addition of the rear, I mean, I agree that it isn't really super impactful on the neighbors. It's just the numbers that sort of throw me off a little bit, but overall, I would support the application.
I agree, I think the FAR table is pretty compelling, I think it helps, you know, contextualize it, you're right, there's huge variances in the lot size, but just sort of seeing the consistency and how it fits the character, given the adjacent lots, I think I'd be comfortable with this.
I always think of this as a neighborhood of small houses, and that's not the case at all. A lot of the houses in this neighborhood have been expanded and pushed to wherever they can go. Tim, I think you did a great job blending this in.
Thank you.
So when I looked at the building and looked at the plans and stuff like that, nothing bothered me, but I do struggle with the numbers. Particularly a property that's already the physically largest in terms of square footage, and it's what we'll call a competitive set, for lack of a better term, and now it's gonna be even larger.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think this was done as well as it could be done, and I think and I agree with Craig that it probably would work better in many respects, but I do worry about ultimately what this will look like. You know, I do, I guess like the planner, I do take some comfort from the fact that there's only an FAR variance here, which frankly, I'm not sure I can, time I've been on the board, there's been that many of
If
them
not
attending.
triggering something else.
Yeah,
right?
it always triggers something else, so I'm just wondering what's sort of happening here. You know, but I think I think the way it's done, I think ultimately, I think it will look okay. But I can't say I'm not struggling with it, but I think ultimately I could support
Anything further? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
No second.
I'll second.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Roy Yu,
Yes.
Pat Sewell,
Yes.
Melina Robbins,
Yeah.
Steve Cohen,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Craig Fenton.
Yes, good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, moving right along, we're gonna jump to calendar 407826. 42 roll. Come on, man. Planner, very nice. Bring a chair up.
Who's gonna be speaking or get so?
All three of you will be speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so once and everybody raise their right hand, you swear affirm the testimony about to give tonight, you truth, whole truth, and but the truth.
I do.
Why don't we start with you and then we'll go around. Go ahead. Tony.
Alexander Dougherty, Dougherty, professional planner.
Sandeep, this one, 14 Railway Road.
Just wait, just spell your name.
SAN, D as in David, I, E as in Peter, last name, E as in boy, ISWAS.
Jane Pan, Jane, Kan.
Thank you.
Go ahead, who'd like to speak first?
I just give a brief introduction to what we are looking to do. So we live at 14 Railway and in Melbourne, and we've been out here for 23 years now. So we moved from the city 23 years ago. Certain things we started missing, were kind of good to have, then became a little bit of a minor inconvenience, and now are becoming an issue over time. So in the kitchen, we find that we've put in center island in the kitchen and replaced instruments replaced appliances which were did not even have electronics and so on. And we find that we have to just get us the smallest appliance possible because the other ones don't fit. So what we are looking to do is just bump out the kitchen by 5 feet the rear. And the front of the house, we have a covered porch. And what we are looking to do is kind of wall it up so that the entrance is wider because we don't have a closet right in front. And again, that's a real inconvenience in winter. So we want to make a mudroom in front by just walling up the front porch and putting a porch right in front. So that's the two pieces. Again, that's kind of a 6-foot porch getting walled up. So essentially we'll have a porch going out, not a. Those are the two changes that we would like to make, and whatever variance that entails is what we are requesting the board to.
Anything further?
That's it, okay. I'll let Alice wrap up.
Great. I can ask you to give us your credentials, please.
Oh, sorry, yes. Education at Rutgers Bioscene with a master's in city and regional planning, concentration in development, redevelopment, certification, public policy. I testify in this capacity on a weekly and daily basis. My license is current and good standing. I'm also the full-time planner in Dover, Morrison.
Okay, your qualifications are accepted. Go ahead, speak.
So as you heard from the homeowners, that really what's before the board, from a scope of work and programming perspective, is a modest 5-foot addition to the rear of the kitchen, and to enclose that front porch. With that, we do have a host of variances. A lot of those are pre-existing conditions, and some we would otherwise exacerbate by virtue of the nature of the project at hand. For this evening, I prepared an exhibit packet. Really just consists of photographs, really what's happening here at the site in the context of the surrounding neighborhood. If you're pleased with the board, pass them out and mark them.
Sorry, yes, please.
That's okay.
Reading your.
So, council, it's 11 sheets containing maps and photographs. So for this evening, the first two slides really are representative of where the property is in question as it relates to the township of Millburn. This is from the interactive zoning map on the town site. The bottom right-hand corner in black is reflective of where the property is. Right on the edge, right there, are the purple and light, brown. This is block 507, lot 77, 14 Broadway. Slide 2, we kind of zoom in here, again, with the zoning chart next to it. This is that R6 residential, where 6,000 square feet of lot area is required. This is an undersized lot. We're not quite meeting that. Largely in part, I think, because of the property behind us, industrial and purple, you know, their lot line kind of crosses the river. But we are just shy of that. We're about 5,000 and 5,581 square feet, where 6,000 is required. So we have that deficiency, and it's also compounded by our lot width. 60 is required. We're at 50. The neighborhood here is developed. There's no really opportunities to acquire additional land to cure those deficiencies. So pre-existing conditions really related to the lot area here, and as we can kind of see with this neighborhood fabric, following the river, the lots start to get narrower as well. So many of the properties in the neighborhood are not in compliance in that regards. The next couple slides are photographs I took myself on May 31st during the site visit. Every site, every application I testified to, I personally like to visit. The greenhouse in the middle is 14 Broadway. What you see here in the front substantially is what is to remain. That, as you heard, the front porch area is already has an overhang. We're looking to kind of enclose that, but generally speaking, the structure here, the massing is to remain. What we're looking at on page 4 is the rear addition, outlined in yellow. And with the architectural plans, if for the board, to get an idea of where that 5-foot addition falls, it literally is not even halfway through that deck. So a very modest size addition, considering what's there today. Slide 5 is shots of where we're at, internal to the house. Top left is the existing condition of the kitchen here. And we're talking to the homeowner and the applicants who really limited in size and space. As you heard, they made the island kind of help with storage, but you know, any improvements by way of, you know, larger dishwasher or refrigerator, from my understanding, talking to the client, just they don't fit. Those double wide refrigerators with the deep freeze on the bottom, they're not quite fitting. If they want additional cabinet space, you know, it really, functionality is not there. So when we talk about that 5-foot addition, mind you, we have to frame it, drywall it. It's not a full 5 feet. We're literally asking for a very modest bump out to the rear. Really helps functionality of the kitchen, and it would bring the benefit of additional closet space to the one of the 3 bedrooms upstairs. The top right, I'm on the deck. The 5 feet is approximately splitting the first 2 windows right underneath that covered grill. That's approximately where that 5-foot addition would land. The bottom 2 slides here on page 5 are our neighbors. The bottom left is our neighbor to the right. As you can see, they stick out a little bit further to the rear. And the bottom right square slide, I'm around the edge of the deck peering over, and our neighbor to our left also appears further. So by context of rear yards, we're not asking for a rear yard addition. Many of our neighbors are extend further beyond. And the next slide kind of reflects that. We take the drone up, we're on Broadway. This is the abutting properties here, our neighbors. The house all the way to the right with the white arrow is again property in question, 14 Broadway. Every house to the left is pretty much the neighborhoods. As we can see, there's some that protrude further back. There's also some larger massing by way of building sizes and scale. When we talk about this application, I think it's important to note this addition would be a total square footage of 2,593 square feet if approved. So not an overly large house in nature, 2,500 square feet. And most of these homes, as you can see, are about that size, if larger. Slide 7 is that front.
Alex, hold on.
Yes.
The 2,593 square feet represents what? The house?
Everything.
If approved?
Yes, if approved, correct. Right now, it's at 2,414.
I'm confused. I thought this says 2,999. Attachment 2.
No, right now it's 24.
I'm sorry, 25 He's correct. 2593 is existing. I apologize. 2,987. Sorry. No, your floor area. No, it's 25,903. 2,593 would be proposed. Existing is 2,414.
Yep, so what was that 2987 number?
That was your lot coverage. No square feet of lot coverage, properties. But if approved, 2593 would be the square footage of the structure. Slide 7 again is the front covered patio or porch, if you will. We're hoping to make into enclosed foyer, if you will. And purposes, again, functionality. Slide 8 is interior photos I took myself of that front door. Top left being the foyer as it exists now. The top right is the closet. Bottom left, we open the closet fairly tight. And the bottom right is the coats and jackets that exist in the closet. Closet is about a foot deep, 1.5 feet. Functionality, very limited space in there. So we're hoping the board can see favorably to enclose that front porch for a little bit more functional space for that front foyer. Take your shoes off, your coat, closet space, that kind of stuff. Really enhance that front foyer. With that front foyer request comes with a front yard setback request. As the front yard setback for purposes of the R6 zone. Front yard.
I just want to get something straight here. So we're going from beautiful front entrance to what looks like a garden shed bolted to the front of the house.
I would argue not necessarily garden shed, and the next couple of slides are reflective of many of the homes in the neighborhood that have that covered front. But the idea would be to make it as beautiful as possible, not necessarily make it a shed.
Okay, no, it's not that way. What's happening is that whole thing, the open porch, is going to be just moved 5 feet in the front, and the existing porch is going to be wall down. That's it.
No, I get it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
those are the illustrated pictures. Others.
Yeah, for conceptual purposes, there are other properties within the immediate neighborhood that have covered front porches. It's a very, rich dynamic of architectural types and styles of homes throughout the neighborhood, but the front enclosed foyer is there, it exists, on a few of the homes. And, would add some functionality, to the house as well. But for purposes of that front yard, if the board were to look upon the front yard, foyer, if you will, the front door foyer, the front yard is required to be 50 feet or an average prevailing. We're at existing today 29.67.
Wait. Hold on. I'm looking at these architectural plans. I know you did not prepare them. I'm looking at sheet A1. And it says the average is 26.94. These are plans dated January 14, 2026.
Right. And we're asking the board to look at 21.67 feet.
Right, so the existing is 29.67.
Right.
And the proposal is 21.67.
Right.
So you're reducing the front yard setback by 8 feet.
Right, which is approximately where those front steps are. So the way the ordinance reads is 50 feet or prevailing, so we wouldn't be at that 26 mark for the prevailing front yard, we'd be slightly under that. I'm looking at my notes.
50% required.
No, it's prevailing.
Prevailing, apologies.
Was prevailing was 24 pages?
I believe it's 26 and
26.9.
and we're asking the board to look at 21.67. If approved, that would be the front door.
But we're also moving from one that in your competitive set is the second largest setback to go to the least smallest set.
I'm sorry?
Competitive set that was in the package. Which I assume are they're all even numbers, so they're everybody on the same side of the street. They run from 2170 to 3156. Your 2967 only to 3156 is further back. And you would become 2167, which would make you closest.
Right.
On-
Right, on that side of the street.
On that
Right,
side of the
but-
street.
well, I mean, that's the most relevant because
Yeah. Right,
that's you know, the ones you see as you walk down.
Yeah, the dozen properties on our side of the street, yeah, there would be one more house, between,
Well, right now, there's one more. You'd be the closest to the street.
yeah, both, you're kind of good, yes.
on paper, yes, we would be closest, from a planning standpoint, I think the 5 feet or so or 4 inch change is not overpowering the street, it would be the closest, though you are correct. From a purpose or functionality standpoint, it really is, something that the homeowners are hoping the board can see as something that could be, aesthetically appealing, if done right. It provides functionality to the house, as you see with the interior of the house is fairly old, it's in the mid-30s as it was constructed. But really with this application, there's an uptick in the FAR. If what's existing there today and what's being proposed is about a 3% increase. What's there proposed, if approved, would be 46.4%. Currently, it's at 43.2%.
Wait. So on the application,
I'm not sure if I have a different set of plans than what was submitted.
Currently it's 43.2, going up to 46.4.
Yeah.
So what are you looking for exactly?
46.4% if
Okay.
approved.
Because your application
Yeah.
is 45.8.
right, so what is the number 40? This is
The plans and these plans and these have different numbers, that's why.
Okay.
Than each other.
So what, on the zoning, I know the person who prepared the plans is not here. What is the FAR number according to the plan?
46.4%.
46.4.
That's the proposed. Existing.
46.4?
Proposed.
What was noticed?
43.2 is what is existing for the plan.
What was noticed?
It was 46.4%
Yes,
on the notice.
What?
There was no specific
FAR.
epic, there was no dimension, nothing, no.
I mean, it's right here.
Just the variance.
on the plans,
Sorry, I do understand what you're saying, but your application
I did,
wrong.
okay, that's,
Alright,
I
so the
apologize for that.
deviation you're looking for is not 9.8%.
It's over existing today, what's out there today is 43.2, we're asking for 46.4. I'm looking at a 3% request.
No, you're not.
For a 3% increase.
Increase, yeah, request for
Over
additional.
standard, you're at what?
Oh, standard, I would be, 10.4 over, yeah. Looking at FAR, currently is 43.2, and we're looking for that 5-foot addition with that front porch would bring us to 46.4. With that, the next couple slides, what I've done.
Alex,
Yes.
isn't the philosophy here are incrementals? If
No, it's not. So
It's not?
it's over the standard. Always over the standard. Okay. We don't ever look at what's done currently to the house, we look at what the standard is.
Okay,
Right, so from what's there right now to what's being proposed, that 3% and that 5-foot addition, when we look at it, it's not creating additional bedrooms, it's not creating additional parking demand, more sewer, water demands. It really is just a functionality to add some storage on the second floor and a little bit more functional modern kitchen arrangement. And that includes that front foyer. The next slides, 10 and 11, using Mod 4 data, tax card. The red dots, we've just given the square footage of the homes.
Where's your, wait,
Yes,
I'm sorry, where's your property?
it's lot 77, right, the 3 bottom red dots, the one right next to it.
Okay, so we're on pages
10.
10 of 11. Let's make sure that that's identified,
Yes.
all right? And then do you have, and I'm looking at pages 10 and 11, and you have two categories. You have
Yes.
a red dot
And a blue dot.
if you exceed 36% FAR, and blue exceeds 2,500 square feet
Of house.
of house. And you're at basically 2,593 or 2,600 square feet of house. And you're at 46.4% FAR, right?
Correct.
So where is the documentation showing how much in excess of the 36% or the 2,500 square feet?
So it's on the tax cards, mod 4 data, I have written out all the FAR to the request we're here for. And I can go through all the red dots, I have them typed up and put that on the record. Some of them, you know, are less than 40, some of them are greater than 40.
That's actually not necessary. That's not really needed anything.
So from a planning standpoint, with FAR, can the site accommodate the additional floor area? By the nature of the application, before the board, we're not creating additional bedroom, we're not, you know, increasing demands by service, and parking demands. By the nature of these last two slides, when we talk about FAR, a big part of that is to help control the mass scale and size of structures and neighborhoods. You know, so that's what's reflected is the blue dots, that some houses are certainly larger than the 2,500 square foot home footprint, at least from the tax card data. There's a lot of properties that don't have any dots on them. It's not to say that they're compliant. A lot of that data just wasn't available through the mod 4. But with that, combing the neighborhood, seeing the neighborhood, being there, understanding that the house itself from, you know, the public realm really isn't changing by way of growth left or right or height. You know, the addition being to the rear, the scale, size, and mass, in my opinion, isn't really changing the character of the property or the neighborhood. But from an FAR standpoint, these red dots, some of these properties are smaller in nature, which these sites can accommodate additional floor area. What are the delta, the details of that floor area? I do not know, right? I do know this house today is currently a 3-bedroom house. Tomorrow, if approved, will still be a 3-bedroom house. This is an application merely on functionality, you know, taking an older home, trying to put some positive investments to the site, more modern living arrangements, which is a positive investment, not only to the site, but into the neighborhood and into the Milburn housing stock. This application collectively, though appears high on FAR, we are an undersized lot. This additions to the rear and the bulk size and scale, as demonstrated in this exhibit packet, there are larger homes in the area. By virtue of, though they're not on the data for mod 4, visually, we can see these homes are larger. We are not asking for a rear yard setback. We are compliant with building coverage. Given the undersized nature of the lot, there are some existing variances here. And that we can go through them. We have a side yard setback as well as a confined yard setback. And we do have a lot coverage variance as well. These are existing. What we are essentially asking the board to move favorably on is the front yard setback. And again, the FAR variance here today is existing. We're asking for a modest 5-foot bump out, which really helps the family who's been in the community for many decades meet these housing you know, needs and expectations for modern living arrangements. One thing the applicant didn't address is the applicant lives here with his wife and his sister-in-law, who are both avid cooks. They have friends and family come over. They host often. The kitchen is the heartbeat of the family, that gathering place. As you can see in the exhibit packet, is an older dated kitchen. It's kind of tight. This kind of gives them a little bit of breathing room. We know we're asking the board to look on this application, the large number on paper. The reality of this application, again, is a 5-foot addition to the rear. It really does not change the functionality of the neighborhood in that regards. So with that, I think the application from a positive standpoint advances many purposes of the miscellaneous law. I would argue that it advances purpose I, desirable visual environment. We can advance purpose A as well for the safety, morals, and welfare of the community. This would be built with all applicable building codes and regulations. I don't believe there's going to be adverse negative effects. We're not impeding or exacerbating any existing conditions. I would argue that we go to advance purpose I for adequate light, air, and open space. Although we are asking for existing conditions to remain by setback on the side yard, the properties to our left and our right exceed further. We're not impeding on their enjoyment of their property in adequate light and open space. I would also argue we advance purpose and for more efficient use of land and the view of lessening the cost of such development. This home exists, it's a 3-bedroom, positive investment to the site, it's gonna be a 3-bedroom tomorrow. We're not asking to intensify the property by way of operations here, it's just a functionality of that. So with that, I will conclude with the understanding that when I look at the purpose of the zone here, the purpose is to provide a range of lot sizes for single-family dwellings. The development of vacant lands in these predominantly built-up neighborhoods shall be compatible with existing development patterns. I would argue that we are compatible with the existing development patterns, and we're not eroding the intent of the zone plan. And again, just to reiterate, the FAR is all about can the site accommodate that additional floor area. There are some sites that are smaller, who have floor area equal or greater, and we're not creating more parking or sleeping accommodations with this or intensity by way of services. So with that, I'll conclude. Number again is big on paper. The reality of this application is a 5-foot addition.
Good, sure. So kind of similar to the question I asked in the last application. If you can just provide for the benefit of the board, what's the FAR percentage for lot 78, which is next door? What is that one?
78, I have lot 78.
The one at the dot.
Lot 78 is 39.13%.
39.13%. And what about, and I also want Alex on the other side, 18, 20, and 23, and I'm mentioning those three as well, because they all have similar sizes to the subject property.
Lot 18, which is 17 Royal Way, has 40.7%.
Okay.
And 20
20,
is 13 Royal Way, I calculated 42%. And 23. Lot 23, 7 Royal Way, I have 37.18%.
thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I have a question regarding the prior application. We wanna, I don't know if you're able to address that or if the applicant should address that, but we were, in the packet, we had the application from 2010. Just wanna understand if that was completed.
Yeah, that's completed.
So at that time, you expanded your kitchen 4 feet back.
That's right, yeah. So we thought that would be, as Alex mentioned, I mean, we wanted to do the least possible expansion. And we thought that this would be adequate, but it turned out that the size of appliances goes faster than what we anticipated. And after putting in the island and all, things are tight, and we have the communities from church coming in and so on, and it's tight. We have family coming in, so getting in a new refrigerator in was like, get us the smallest and things like that. So incremental now, we think this should be just adequate with the least amount of disruption.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience regarding this testimony? Any comments from the audience? Go ahead, go forward.
Hi, Corey Biller, 13 Raw.
Where's where you went? Yeah.
You swear to testimony you're about to give to be truthful, true, number 3?
Yes, I do.
Your name and address for the record.
Corey Pillar, C-O-R-E-Y, last name Pillar, B as in boy, I-L-L-E-R. I'm at 13 Rawway, so right across the street from it. Good, Mr. Miller. So look, I know, I've lived in the neighborhood for close to 20 years now, so I know the neighbors all wrong. As far as the rear setback, they have the advantage of also having you talked about a little bit, the industrial complex that's across the river that their property line technically goes over. So their property line is closer than it appears. There's a lot of unused space that all those houses get. So I don't think that the additional 5 feet is going to make an appreciable difference as far as
out of scope from the back of the house. I know that 2 houses down also did an addition in the back of the house. So just speaking on their behalf, I don't have an issue with that. I am directly across the street from them, so to the extent there's any impact on me, it would be the front expansion of that portico. A lot of the houses in our neighborhood have portico on the front of their house. My house has a portico on the front of the house. You know, from my perspective, you know, if it increases the value of their property, that increases the value of the street, and so that's beneficial for the neighborhood, so long as that front portico is aesthetically pleasing. I can't imagine that the bump out of it is going to interfere with the enjoyment of my property, so I just wanted to talk about it, see.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any other comment?
Raise your right hand, do you swear from testimony you're about to give
First
tonight
name,
that the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your name and your address.
My first name is Xiao Xiao, last name Chang Chang, and live in 16 Railway Road.
You spell your last name again?
First name Xiao Xiao, and last name Chang Chang. And also go back to Kevin and neighbor all those as Kevin. So as you can see, I live in 16 Railway Road, just the next door neighbor of Working Railway Road, and I actually inherited the house with a front porch being proposed here in this application, and we actually use that as a mudroom, and it's a really convenient feature of the house. And it's also a lot of our other neighbors have that feature, and it's plenty of within our street. So I really want our neighbor to have it as well. So I really here to support this variant application, and also same goes as the backside extension. So initially, I don't know if my previous owner have any backside extension. It looks like he did based on the presentation, but our next door neighbor on the other side talked to me about their backside extension. And also,
That's hearsay, unfortunately, if they were to represent themselves, they.
yeah, I know it's hearsay. It's just try to my points, and they also encouraged me to do the backside extension too. So I would say it's a very common practice within our street, and I really hope their application will be approved.
Thank you.
It's 12 or 16? 12.
What?
12, right? You said your address is 12?
16.
16.
16.
That's a lot of right.
Any other comment from the audience? Anything further?
No, I just, I understand this is, a number that appears large on paper, it is, already over on FAR, we know it's a lot for the board to consider. You know, but this application does not create additional bedrooms or simplifies the property, and really the scope of what FAR is looked at out from the site, accommodate additional floor area. This is to improve arguably one of the most important rooms in any dwelling. If you, as the board knows and heard, there was an application, some years back. They thought that's what they needed on paper, and then the reality of it is we're just slightly under what we thought we needed, and you know, this 5 foot, they believe will get things exactly what they need. So with that, I'll conclude. And for the board, I don't know if the homeowners have any additional comments they'd like to make.
I just wanted to add that we have lived in this house for a little over 23 years, and we choose to remain here and make the necessary changes to meet and improve our everyday family life, family needs. Approval of this application will allow us to enjoy this older home. It's nearly 90-year-old home, nearly 90-year-old home, and with reasonable improvement that many newer and also renovated homes already enjoy. And we thank you for your consideration and respectfully request the board's approval.
Thank you. With that, I will close the public portion of the meeting. The board members, your thoughts?
I can go first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's exactly as the planner testified. It's a bit uncomfortable on paper. It's a ton of variances. But then you hear the explanation. I think the testimony, it isn't incremental. You know, I have no issues really with the front portico. because you framed it a shed. I think that can be very useful, can improve the utility, and I think the pictures were compelling. As far as the rear yard setback, you take a little bit of exception because you showed us the adjacent neighbor, except their front yard setback is 10 feet further, so I would expect it to be above the calculation, and I understand the perception and the experience from the street and for your neighbors would be de minimis if it's in the backyard. So though parts of it make me feel uncomfortable, I think I can support this application. That's where I stand.
I would not support this application. FAR being a 10% deviation in the 10 years I've been on this board, I don't even remember coming close to that anywhere in this town. When you look at the examples you gave, okay, and you look at the averages of what we approved here at FAR in many cases, that's what it is. It's the 2 points, it's the 3 points. A 9 to 10.4 deviation I think is detrimental to zoning plan and master plan. The moving the house that much closer to the street, again, I feel detrimental to the zoning plan and master plan. I do not think that moving that much closer to our front yard setback and that type of deviation is a massive deviation. This house is already thoroughly overbuilt for the lot. And to increase this further, I don't think is beneficial to the zoning plan and master plan, so I would not support the application.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with that. I mean, I struggle with it because I do think that certainly the ask is not substantial. But it's an ask over something that already is substantial. And so I just, to Craig's point, we don't approve FARs that are more than 10%. And I do worry about, what this would look like. Again, it's not much additional, but it's already something that's fairly built up. So I just think it's too big an ask.
I'm gonna go one step further with that. 36% is what the town permits. You do have an undersized lot by 500 square feet. So if you adjust to that, you're probably like 37 or 38%. This to me goes past variance and into ordinance. When you're talking about a deviation of 10%, we're past actual municipal land use variance relief. It's now into actually new ordinance by us approving 46%. And it is groundbreaking for this area. So that's another thing that has to be considered is when you look for relief that's this large, it's now getting far past almost what we're looking at here. I mean, we're here to grant relief from what the code says, not to write new code. And that's where I feel that this is going. We're talking about getting FARs close to 50%. Anyone else have an opinion?
Well, I raised some of the issues that I had with it, and unlike my colleague here, I do have problems with it. I understand every argument here about the usefulness of what you want to do. But it doesn't feel like the lot's there to do what you. So I have difficulties.
Can I make a point?
So,
No, the public portion is closed, but we can reopen in a second. Go ahead. Do I have a motion to, you want me to?
yeah, why don't you open?
Do I have a motion to open up the meeting to the public? So moved. A second?
Second.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
If I may before you, I think, I understand the concerns and the numbers live on paper and, the only way to alleviate this FAR, which is the number that lives on the paper, because the homes are left and right across street, they're all larger by a build out. Before the board takes action, I like to be able to talk the application. Maybe there's an opportunity to work with the industrial property behind us and grab land that can exceed past the river. That way our FAR would be substantially lower on paper. But the physical reality of the lot itself, the functionality of the lot, isn't going to change. It's going to just change the number on paper. Because I hear what you're saying, but from a planning standpoint, that number lives on paper strictly and not in the reality of that neighborhood. It's not
That
that
doesn't necessarily mean you get it, right?
No, I
You
understand.
still have a front yard deviation.
Right.
By all the land you want back, that's still not gonna change the front yard.
But a D variance is substantially different than a C variance from a,
Agreed, I mean, if you can you wipe out your D variance,
Yes.
then that's by as of right.
Yes.
So there's nothing,
Well,
Just
C
some
variances are not as of right.
no, I'm saying that wipe out the D variance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you maybe take a pause here and speak to the homeowner. The other thing that's something we can't avoid is that you don't have an architect here, you don't have an engineer here, and because of that, it's not like that we haven't heard any testimony from an architect or engineer in terms of a justification, in terms of hardship or otherwise, and I think you make a good point in terms of the land in the rear. And you've heard what the board's comments are and allowed it to be reopened, so you might wanna talk to your client about maybe considering a possible redesign before a formal vote, because once a formal vote is taken, if it doesn't work out for you, there's this doctrine, res judicata collateral estoppel, which means that you can't then come back with substantially the same application.
I'm good.
We just take 2 minutes, and I guess you want to just go about the next one. Or you want-
I'd like you to go real quick, because the next one is going to be a little more like the.
We're gonna ask to be carried to the board and let us look on that. Let's say we're gonna further notice next month. We're gonna try to talk to our architects, see if we can shop. We're gonna see if we can talk the property behind us, we hear your concern. We know what we're asking for, the big, we're gonna see what we can do to reduce that. I'm not an architect, so we need to contact the architect and, you know, to Council's point, we need an engineer to see, you know, we can redesign the site to get it.
Sure, when is the next available meeting?
Not next month,
I know that.
you're not month after that.
No, I know it's gonna be, wait,
But you might get.
I know, that's very much of the here on 17th. Honestly. September 14th.
what is it? September 14th. September 14th? If you have any plans, please submit them within 10 days prior to the application date for circulation. And so in terms of the location, the library, correct? Okay, so do we have the address for that? So we can-
200.
Wait, sorry.
200 coming out.
So this application has been carried to the September 14th, 2026 meeting of the board at the library, which is 200 Glen Avenue in Milburn. No further notice will be provided by the applicant. And for those who are in the audience interested in the application, that per the chair, if there's going to be any modifications to the plans, they are to be submitted at least 10 days prior to that hearing date, of September 15th.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And next up this evening, we have calendar 40, 25, 25, 44 Essex Street, 111 Old Essex. Second.
No. Good evening. And what was it?
Yes. I guess it's over here. It's one of our ones. Are you guys, you have attorney or something here?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you just go there.
Oh, you said that side, okay.
Yeah.
This groupies and girls, right? So-
Yeah, that's right. Just move back down, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I said that.
Such as.
Yeah, it wasn't that big a hole.
Wait, did we get I'm sorry? This was sent, you mean it was until.
Yeah, full day.
It was the craziest.
Here? Chairman, where do you prefer?
Okay, so.
We prefer out of the building? In the parking lot?
That was too
In my
open.
car driving home?
Too open of a question.
The Knicks are on?
I was kind of away.
I know, I know.
That was a layup, literally.
Oh, gosh.
Over the mayor, we should probably just kind of give, when we start, kind of an overview as to, you know, where it was, where it is right now,
Sure.
and then also because timing related issues, what you hope to accomplish tonight.
Absolutely.
Words on the same.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Derek Worth from Eagle City Taylor. It's great to be here in front of you all on a beautiful evening when the Knicks are playing the Knicks in 4, if we may. Another game's at 8. So I'm here on behalf of the applicant who last appeared before you in 2023, I believe. I represent Troop One Holdings, LLC. They are the owner of 44 Essex Street. This is more formally identified as Block 703, Lot 9 on your official tax map. We are seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval with density D5, variance relief, as well as bulk variance relief to construct 4 apartments over the existing Sakura Japanese restaurant with parking and other physical site improvements. Now, as this board will undoubtedly recall, the applicant previously sought approval for a 4 different projects on the subject property. In particular, on October 2nd, 2023, the applicant presented a proposal to construct 10 units over the existing restaurant. And that application was ultimately denied by the board on November 20th, 2023. Now, in the many years that have elapsed since that original denial, the applicant has considered the board's reasons for the denial, and we have devised a substantially new and different concept plan or plan for board's consideration this evening, and at subsequent hearings for boards to consider. And we believe that this application is not only substantially different, it is effectively a new application for the board's consideration, and one that was particularly designed to address the board's original reasons for the denial. So as Mr. Simon has indicated, and as the board is undoubtedly familiar with, there is a doctrine of res judicata, right? So what does that mean? What it means in the context of Milburn is that if an applicant gets denied on an application, they can't come back in with the same application and represent it, hoping for a different outcome. Instead, what Milburn requires and what the law requires is a substantively new or a materially different application for the board's consideration. Now, interestingly, I've looked at this issue across many boards in Essex County. I used to be the planning board attorney in Fairfield, and we had a bylaws in Fairfield, and other boards do as well, and they had a clock on the res judicata issue of 2 years by which you were barred from presenting the same application on the piece of property. Now, Milburn does not have that here. There is no time bar on the presentation of an application for the same piece of property. And it's of no, as I'm sure Mr. Simon will tell me, it is of no legal precedent here, but I just noted to give you some sort of context in terms of when we presented, how long it's been, and now we're back. And we're back to something that we hope meets the board's liking. We're back to something that is new and different and much more in keeping with your downtown zoning district. So to present the application was denied. It was with 10 units, 2 stories above the existing restaurant. It was deficient on parking and obviously many other features that the board had a particular interest in. Back again, we have significantly modified and reduced the proposal. We are now at 4 apartments, 2 levels above the existing restaurant. In terms of a D5 variance, that is your density variance, we are at 0.5 above what your zoning ordinance permits from a density perspective. So just a tick up. If the rounding were in my favor, or the rounding were in the applicant's favor, we would be before the planning board, but we are not. And that is accurate, and that is what we submitted for. So in our perspective, there's also been other revisions to it.
The original proposal, I'll just go through it in a minute here. 10 units, those units included 2 one-bedroom units, 7 two-bedroom units, and 1 three-bedroom unit. So we have reduced the scale and scope of that project to be again 4 units. Those are 2 two-bedrooms and 2 three-bedroom units. We have also reduced the ground floor area of the development proposal for your consideration by approximately 1,100, almost 1,200 square feet. We've also modified the parking layout, as my professor will show you on their plan. We have increased the parking amount by a result of the communications we've had with the DRC, your Development Review Committee. And we've also modified the striping and the plantings and other considerations that we received from your subcommittees. So when I look back at your original denial, it was primarily focused on the fact that, hey guys, you are almost 3 times what the density permits in this zone, and you have a deficit of parking as a result thereof. We have sought to address it, and we hope to present to you an application that meets with your liking, that is much more in keeping with what Milburn envisions for its downtown corridor. I do have for the board's consideration this evening, my engineer, I have my architect, and I have my planner, and I also have my client rep. So.
But Counselor, I'll tell you this real quick.
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
not sure if you were here. 10 o'clock's a hard stop.
Yes.
As we've heard, people get booted out of the building, so
Yes, sir.
I would ask you to judge accordingly to finish your testimony by then.
Okay, so what I'll say, Mr. Chairman, right off the bat, we were hoping to get updated reports from fire and police.
Yeah,
We did not receive them.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously, we're coming in with reports that
Are
don't look
not
so favorably,
great.
okay?
Not great.
Understood. They're from December, right? They're from December of 2025. My professionals have addressed those issues. There's no outstanding violations, and we've addressed the issue from the fire department and the police department. Have they issued new reports? No, they haven't.
We need to review this.
I'm sure, that was the first thing I'm sure, Mr. Chairman, you would ask for. So part of my pushing to present this evening, because I have not been so successful, is perhaps, Mr. Chairman, you could put on record a request for updated reports from fire and police.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem at all.
And we have actually meetings scheduled, my planner, Rich Keller, my other professionals are meeting with them tomorrow and Thursday. But perhaps, Mr. Chairman, if you were able to request that those reports be issued, in response to the revised plans.
Yeah.
In advance of the next hearing. I don't want to start off on the wrong foot with you all.
No, honestly, it's just a waste of time, because we need to see those in order to move forward. So like I said, I doubt you want to move forward with what you have sitting on the table today.
I do not.
So,
I mean, let me ask you a question. Just thinking about your back order here. Is it worthwhile to maybe start with architecture? Because that may have the least impact on any future fire and police commentary. I'm just thinking if you start with your traditional engineer and there's reports that we're gonna get after the fact that you're gonna have to maybe review some of that testimony. I'm just trying to think about efficiency here. Or maybe, I don't know what you're gonna have I'm gonna call it the operator testify to. Does it make sense to maybe have the operator and the architect testify tonight? Just to kind of get some things on the record?
I don't want to put the operator up yet because the revised reports on parking and the like impact the operator. I would save them for later.
That's fine.
Okay, Art, if I may for a second.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, what I think, I agree, Mr. Simon, Mr. Chairman, if we could put up the new plans for the architectural buildings, that would make sense.
Just to get something accomplished.
yeah, and, use your hour wisely, so.
Thank you. And again, my view of the world is, and this is my view, but the board's gonna want to hear the full application before they render a determination on res judicata. And they're gonna want to hear how different the application is from the prior one. So I put that on the record to the wall. I did prepare a letter, even today. Nobody read it, I understand. I'll come back to that issue at a later point if we may. Okay.
Yeah, in other words, so Mr. Orr submitted a letter. I have not read it, but he did provide a courtesy call to provide a heads up that he was gonna be submitting it. And I don't see, at least at first blush, any showstoppers with regard to res judicata. But I told him what this board typically does is to preserve until they hear the entire case, to then come back and determine whether, res judicata is applicable here, but there's nothing, like I said, at first blush that says, hey, we should have more of a presentation on res judicata, because we might stop you dead in your tracks. I don't think that's the case, right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Simon. So, my architect here, he's not yet been sworn in, Conrad Riccati.
Swear here and qualify as well.
Thank
You
you.
swear affirm testimony about to give in the proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Your name, the record spelling your name.
Certainly, Conrad Roncati, Roncati, principal of the firm Architectura, located at 1 Executive Drive, Fort Lee, New Jersey. I'm a licensed architect in New Jersey. I've been practicing over 40 years, licensed in 20 or so other states, and I've testified at well over 1,500 planning and zoning board meetings in New Jersey alone.
Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Thank you. I was also the architect from the prior application that council referred to, so there's some history with respect to understanding what was applied for previously and this new application, which is substantially different. As council mentioned, this project is not only different, but it's different at a much smaller way. We've gone from 10 units down to 4. The building is the same height. The mass of the building is a little bit smaller, which I'll explain in a moment. But generally, the same height, less footprint, about 1,100 square feet less than the prior application. I have 4 drawings that were all dated March 10th, 2025, A01 through A04. These have been submitted to the board. I don't know if we need to mark those separately, but I do have a rendering that I'm presenting this evening. This is a color rendering of the corner of Essex. It is called Perspective, 44 Essex Street, and it's with a date of June 8th, 2026. I could mark this.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, we're gonna mark this A1,
Yes, thank you.
right? What?
You don't have copies?
We don't have this perspective.
This
No, it
this
is
is
new.
new.
Something that's good.
We'll submit this also electronically, tomorrow morning to Eileen.
Arlene, you're good? You're good?
And just reference where the car is Essex Street.
Yes, sir. On the right-hand side is Essex Street. And the parking garage entrance is on the left side of this rendering.
The left side of the rendering.
That's my best Vanna White. This is Essex Street. This is the cross street.
With the entrance.
Right, so the garage is on what street?
Homes.
The Essex Street is driving not this way,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
no,
that way.
it's not correct.
Cars are
Disregard.
backwards.
Yeah, cars are drawn in backwards.
Yeah.
The one way.
Yeah.
You can make the cars stand first.
I haven't got to.
So essentially the garage is where the curb cut is today.
Correct. That is correct. Into the lot.
Right. It's a lot.
The application proposes a redevelopment of an underutilized commercial property. This is a 3-story mixed-use proposal. We believe that it strengthens that Essex Street frontage while providing much-needed housing opportunities in the downtown area. The project, as proposed, is 11,958 square feet gross floor area. The ground floor of this building is the restaurant, 2,018 square feet. That's the existing building that's there now. We're proposing to build this building above and adjacent to the existing building. So we'll be spanning over. This building will remain and then be renovated and integrated architecturally
into the project. As council mentioned, there are 4 proposed units. Very simply, there are 2 residential units proposed per floor. There's an elevator, of course, that serves these 2 floors that's accessed from underneath the parking structure, where there are a total of 8 parking spaces. This, of course, is a prominent corner, as we've discussed. My apologies for the cars being in the wrong direction. The design activates both street frontages. This architecture and aesthetics are similar on these 2 frontages, understanding that it's a corner. So we worked hard to make sure that the building worked from 2 different corners, 2 different elevations. And I would point out that if we look at the other exhibits, A01 to A04, the other 2 sides of the building are consistently detailed design and incorporate the same material. So there's no front facade to this building that is then less in terms of treatment or detail or quality of materials. In the back, for example, it's the same and consistent on all 4 sides. The design activates the street facades with a combination of commercial storefronts, the residential entry, and then the parking garage, which again, architecturally is very heavily screened. So although it's an open parking garage, we've incorporated the design of the screening into the design of the building, and most of that parking is not visible from the street at all times. So it's very heavily screened, contributing to the street facade. Parking is provided at the ground level in the garage with 8 parking spaces, as we mentioned, curb cut from homes. Bicycle storage is also included in this lower level. So if you're coming by bike, we do have bike storage underneath the building, and there is dedicated trash facilities also incorporated into the building program. The building has been designed architecturally as a contemporary interpretation of what we see as a mix of modern and traditional downtown architecture and aesthetics in other mixed-use developments in the town. The facade utilizes a palette of white aluminum cladding, that's what you see predominantly in the rendering exhibit, combined with a warm wood grain aluminum accent panel. So these other panels are wood grain aluminum panels. So they'll be durable, they won't fade, but they're very realistic in terms of the finish. They appear very wood-like, but they won't need to be treated, they won't need to be stained and repeatedly painted. They don't fade at all. Very common material in this type of building. It's a low maintenance exterior. The building's massing is carefully articulated through changes in materials, recessed elements, and varied window patterns to reduce the scale and the perception of scale of the structure, and to create what we were striving for, which was a pedestrian-friendly environment. So the architecture of the building is defined by a series of facade plane changes. This isn't a flat building with a flat second floor and a flat third floor. There's a lot of articulation along both facades. And then the mixture of materials and the window patterns, we feel adds strongly to the visual interest of the building. The building height conforms. We're at 42 feet to the actual roof deck. Your ordinance requires measurement from average grade to a parapet wall. In that case, we are 47 feet 10 inches to the parapet wall. So as a defined height, we're at 47.10. We do have a bulkhead, which is at the top of the elevator and stair tower only. So only a small portion of the building rises up 5 more feet to 52 feet, 10 inches.
Can you
All-
clarify? Sorry, you just used the term roof deck, can you just clarify that?
Roof deck is a term referencing the deck or roof plane of the building as shown here on sheet A04.
Would that be intended for people to occupy?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, there's no resident access to the roof. On the roof, we do have our kitchen equipment, which I was about to speak to being screened. But
Not
the-
public.
the elevator does not go to the roof, the stair does, but the stair only goes for the purposes of maintaining kitchen and restaurant related equipment. So if I may, again, just point out that small little bulkhead area. This is the only area of the building that rises that extra 5 feet, still in conformance with the ordinance. But the majority of the building, which is measured at the parapet, is significantly less at 47 feet, 10 inches. So yes,
I'm sorry, so 47 feet, 10 inches
is the height of the building per ordinance,
is to the parapet.
average grade to parapet.
Okay, and then the bulkhead is 5 more.
5 more feet to 52. All of the equipment that's on the roof is concealed behind the parapet wall, so nothing that's going on this roof will be higher than the parapet, which means that it certainly won't be seen by the street. Based on our early equipment selections, will be no more than 48 inches off the roof deck, so will be less than even the 5-foot parapet. So that parapet was designed purposely to conceal any of the equipment that was on the roof. And that equipment would include exhaust systems, condensers, drainage structures. Again, all understanding that this is a prominent corner, visible from distance, we wanted to make sure that none of that was seen. Or with a 5-foot solid parapet and not the fence or rail type, sound also will be mitigated because sound will be blocked by the solid parapet wall.
Where, I think it would be helpful for where is this equipment currently for the restaurant?
It's on the roof of the restaurant now.
Okay, so there's no additional equipment, you're just raising the height of it.
So we're building up and above and over the restaurant, then any rooftop equipment that we have on that restaurant will be relocated to the top of this building.
And the ducting will go through the building,
The
right?
ducting will go through, so now any exhaust, for example, that is at 18 feet will now be at 40-something feet, which I would submit as a significant improvement.
How high is the garage site inside?
So the garage height will be 13.5 feet inside. We have a very deep superstructure, deeper than normal, because we have to bridge over the existing restaurant. So keeping that building intact meant that we needed to span across that structure, columns on either side. When you span far distances, as I'm sure this board is well aware, structure gets deeper. So we have an 18-foot floor to floor on that first level. That's about 3 feet higher than it would normally be in a structured building with parking underneath. But that's a function of having to get up and over that building. So the parking garage will be accessible should it be necessary, even for an ambulance or box truck to access.
Which is unusual, really.
Yes.
That's a unique feature.
So just to wrap up the floor plan, we've provided axonometric drawing showing the two layouts on A04, but on sheet A02, we've provided the floor plans of the building. So sheet A02, bottom left-hand corner, with Essex at the bottom of each of these plans. The restaurant is shown in this tan color, the 8 parking spaces in the garage. Underneath the building, we have a very small lobby, elevator, barrier-free. We have a fire stair, and then in the back, we have our bike storage, our trash bins, and then we have the existing restaurant. Again, that building remains, we're building up and around it, and then aesthetically integrated. The second floor of the building has 2 units, unit 201 and 202. You see the elevator, small corridor, and the fire stair. Again, Essex is at the bottom. Unit 202 has frontage on Essex and then to a deck at the rear. And then unit 201 wraps the corner of homes on the left and Essex at the front. The third floor, slightly different unit. This is a 3-bedroom. This is a 2-bedroom with a den.
On the third floor.
On the third floor, but generally the same layout. Unit, this is the first floor. Unit 101 having the frontage on Holmes and Essex, and unit 102 having the access to the back, but really fronting on Essex Street.
Question, you still have residential on the first floor? There's residential on the first floor?
No, the
First 101 unit, 111.
this is the first we're calling it ground, first and second.
European.
Yeah.
Second floor, 101 second floor.
Yeah, so
201
first floor is the first residential, second is the second. We have a 3-story building, ground, first, second.
Is the parking for the restaurant?
So I'm gonna let the site engineer handle that question. There's been discussions with the planner and with traffic regarding not only parking, but circulation and movement. And there'll be also testimony about how employees come to the site. That's not within my.
We anticipated longer discussion on parking, not tonight because we want to get the other reports back updated. But yes,
Right.
that will be a topic of discussion.
On sheet AO2,
Yes.
where the parking area is, I think you're showing some columns there. In
Yeah, the columns are shown in red.
Right, so do the column locations necessitate any variance relief? Because it's less than a 9 by 18 space or otherwise?
No, we have all 9 by 18 spots and we have a 24-foot drop off.
We had originally
That's a
on our
variance.
notice, and I think it's been revised with the revised plan submission. 9 by 19 was required, 9 by 18 was proposed. I believe we have corrected that.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yes. We
So
originally
where you at
noticed,
now? There's 9 by 19?
we originally noticed that I
9
think
by 18.
we were 9 by 18.
Right,
Does Milburn have a requirement for 9 by 19? We picked that up in one of our.
9 by 19 required, correct then?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm more focused, in terms of the columns, I'm more focused on the width. So it looks like that looks like it's less than, if you take the columns into consideration, but.
All of the dimensions take the columns into consideration.
Okay.
The plans are accurate. We're holding 9 feet on every single
Okay, so
spot.
that's where we're going. 9 by 19 is what we're doing.
9 by 18 is
Sorry,
what we're proposing.
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
We asked for, I believe, a design waiver, not a variance.
That is correct.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We asked for a waiver, not a variance.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm all
That's
your
correct.
spots.
It wasn't in the order.
Okay. Right, I just wanna make sure we're capturing all the.
Yeah, and I should have, Conrad, before you continue, if I may just summarize the variance relief perhaps for consideration. We have the D5 density variance of 0.5. It's the density permits 3.535 units for proposed. That's your D5 variance. The minimum parking was 24 required. We've eight proposed plus one EV credit. It's also an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming condition. There'll be greater discussion on that with the engineer at the next hearing. Your maximum building coverage is 90% permitted in the zone. 37.44 existing. We have 97.85% proposed. That's because this building's going up. Minimum loading requirements. We are proposing no loading stall, but there'll be some testimony on where we're going to accommodate that as part of the revised testimony.
That's residential and commercial you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
For loading?
Yes. The parking space size as proposed, 9 by 19 is required. This is a design waiver or a design exception. We're proposing 9 by 18 as compared to 9 by 19. That is a design waiver that is not a bulk variance. We have a 88 parking space size. The ordinance requires 12 by 20. From a design requirement, we're proposing 8 by 18, another design exception. We have a couple of pre-existing non-conforming conditions, one of which we can't change. Minimum lot size, 0.75 is the minimum lot size in your zone. We have 0.4 that's existing. And then we have a pre-existing non-conforming sign, this is your graphic wall sign size. 2 feet is permitted, we have 2.17 square feet, which is to be no change to proposed setting. Now, as we work through the plans, and the applicant has shown me at least, and hope we're going to show the board, we're happy to work with the board on modifications to these designs and other requirements. So that's where we're at today. That's where we're at for presentation purposes. We're looking forward to engaging in a dialogue with you all to get to something that works for everyone.
Can I wrap up?
Yeah, well, I have some questions for you too, so.
Yeah,
go
so, sorry. I just wanted to point out on sheet A02A, is a roof plan. My firm, designing thousands of residential units at the moment, but we also have a specialty and a concentration in restaurants. We're really very conversant with restaurant requirements. My office not only showed a roof plan on this sheet, but we've shown the locations of all of the exhausts, the roof drains, where the commercial kitchen exhausts will be, and all of the rooftop equipment. So if you look at this plan, everything is moved mostly to the middle, which improves the ability to conceal it with the parapet, even from great distance, and also helps with sound mitigation because it's at the middle of the building. And then just before I wrap up, my last couple of comments, sheet A03 are the 4 elevations of the building. So homes in the upper left with the entrance of the garage, the 2 stories of residential above, Essex Street in the upper right-hand corner of this building with the entrance to the restaurant, the opening that goes through down to the residential lobby, the screened parking, of course, the 2 floors up above, and then the east side on the bottom left, and the rear longer elevation with those 2 stacked outdoor porches in the rear on the upper left-hand corner of this building. These drawings also show the signage for the building, which we believe is still very modest and well integrated. The restaurant name is above the glass into the dining room on the Essex Street side. And then around the corner, understanding that we're a corner building, we want pedestrians or people in vehicles to see the name of the restaurant on the home side, a small sign on the corner, 2 feet tall by 9 feet 6, and the same size over the main entry block of the restaurant on Essex Street.
Wait, is this sign gonna be 2 feet tall or 2.17?
Square footage. Measure.
We have 2.17 feet, I'm sorry.
It's 2 feet tall, 24 inches by
You're
9
not,
feet.
you're not seeking any variance relief for the sun, correct?
Said that earlier.
It's still just remaining the same non-conforming you have right now, correct? Are you increasing that non-conforming?
I'm seeing two signs there, right there,
Right.
on the building wall. I want to confirm that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two now. There are two signs now in each facade, the parking lot home side and then the Essex.
Right, yeah, that's true.
And they're existing on.
And those will not be increased, you're going to keep them the same size they are now, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As an existing non-conforming, but
Yes.
not
We're
increasing, not
relocating
exaggerating.
them, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
We're relocating them on the building, but yes, they're remaining the same signs, same size and proportion.
I have a question, please educate me. On the first one, non-conforming, existing non-conforming, minimum lot size is 0.75 acres, that's for what? Minimum
In that zone,
in that zone.
correct.
Yes.
So it's a substantially undersized lot.
But it's existing.
It's, yeah,
So for business, or for.
It's in your B4 zone district,
Right.
which permits commercial business in the ground level, residential above.
So if this was a use for which a D1 use variance would be either one, variance was required, the fact that they're adding residences would be an intensification of that use, but because the use is permitted, the fact that it's an undersized lot, you're allowed to still seek the relief.
And if you don't know this, that's totally fine, it's for someone else. The entrance and exit to that parking garage, is there any type of notification system for people walking down the street? When you pull out?
Have we talked about?
All right, then if that's your.
It's on the, I remember that being discussed, the engineer is indicating it's on his drawing, that
Okay,
warning
when
says.
we get to that, we get to that, that's fine.
Council also handed me the letter from November 26, 2025. From the fire official, Captain Michael Adubato. And since there are some things that relate to the building, I'd just like to quickly run through these with
Yeah,
you.
are those gonna be changed based on your more recent meeting with the fire official and your upcoming one?
He has about 10 or 12 items. My architect's going to address about 8 out of the 10 or 12.
Let's not do that.
You know, do that.
Let's do it all in one shot.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
Yeah.
Good. But the upshot is, we're going to. Well, I'll say.
So let's wait.
Yeah.
Why don't you touch upon lighting?
Sure.
Okay, because that's something that's purely architecture, it's not gonna affect police or fire, right? In terms of outdoor lighting, or there's somebody else.
Was that your testimony? If it wasn't, that's fine.
No, I was just checking with my associate. We have lighting in the parking garage, right? So general lighting within the building. The way the design of the building is put together with these slatted areas, that base of the building will slightly glow through those slats. Again, we were not looking to make a solid wall so that it looked like a block, a windowless block. We were trying to articulate that, and light is actually a big part of that. So there is light within the garage, and then there's light that will be inside the entry on Essex to the residential path. And then there's the signage on the restaurant, but there's no other site lighting that's either on the site plan or the architecture.
So you don't have any uplighting onto the building? Or security lighting?
The size,
We're not, the signs are lit. And we're showing, I'm sorry, we're showing two decorative lights left and right of the dining room window on the Essex Street facade. My apologies, but this is not intended to provide security lighting or safety lighting. It's more of just an up and down accent on the facade.
And are those lights coming out of timer or are they gonna be?
they could certainly be on the time, yeah, with the operation of the restaurant, and they would go on. I don't wanna revisit the fire officials.
Wait, before, we're only lighting it for a second, okay? So security lighting, is there any security lighting on the building?
Not on the building, no. We have street lighting, and then we have the lighting in the parking lot. Not to touch on the fire official's letter, but this building will be modern and code compliant in every way. It will be fully fire suppressed or fire sprinkler, fire alarm, et cetera. So this will be a.
Not to ruin the surprise, but I'm assuming the fire department's approved that EV exemption underneath this building, the charge underneath this building.
How about TBD?
Yeah, we can leave that as TBD, that's fine. 'Cause it's-
I'm not sure if that's been happening in Milburn.
Yeah, it is.
There are some
Technically, you have to be
jurisdictions
outside.
that are commenting on that, but it's a case by case, town by
Okay.
town, based.
Can I ask, will your engineer testify about the amount of parking by restaurant patrons? Because as I recall last time, and I may be wrong, but we didn't have any testimony on that.
Yes, sir, we will.
Okay.
And how many workers get the restaurant and.
Yeah, no, that there was no
Yes.
testimony, but there wasn't any testimony, as I recall, on the amount of cars that were coming to the restaurant, parking for the restaurant.
Yes, and we will provide some parking counts in that regard as well.
Any other questions for the architect? I'm assuming you're.
So I'm done.
Okay. Any
I had
questions from
some
the board?
flowery closure comment, but I can skip.
Any other questions? I know we've sort of been like spitballing here as we go along, so.
Can I just ask real quick, are these apartments going to have a name that's gonna require a sign, or are they just?
We did not have a monument sign proposed, and to my knowledge, we don't have a name of the community yet. If the board would like to see as much, there's no monument sign proposed, that would indicate.
These are gonna be rentals?
Yes. That is the current anticipation.
I have a question, when we come back, would you be able to bring a sample or show a picture of what the, that wood aluminum siding was?
Material board?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if
Can
we
we
have
bring
to
material
physical or
board?
at least like a picture of.
Yes, we can bring Conrad, can we bring material board?
Yes.
Yes.
Then if that, the board's finished the questions, I'm gonna just open up the public. Does the public have any questions for the architect regarding this application? Any comments will be left at the end of the testimony, so, Councilor.
Mr. Chairman, that's as far as I think it's wise for us to take it this evening. And something I'd like to do, which take a look. If there's any kind of comments or thoughts or questions you may want the applicant to think about before we come back, I'm always happy to receive that.
I think which is too premature at this point, so, basically what we've seen so far has been pretty cut and dry, so. I don't want to speak for my colleagues here, but I don't think we're there yet, so.
Very good.
Then, thank you, and when will we hear the next? I mean, I know where we're going. There might not be leaves on the trees, but.
October 14th, October 5th, October 19th, there's nothing in towards the one, so.
Will it continue?
We do a special.
Meetings?
Yeah.
Will it really want that?
Yeah, we
That's
could-
the quality.
I prefer you to do it here.
Okay, that's fine. I just don't.
I would love a full contingent.
I agree,
Thank you,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah. We're already short a member as it is, I think, having anyone else
Yes.
not be educated.
Agreed. I don't know, I understand what's going on with the buildings. What I would just ask for, Mr. Chairman, Eileen, is if you could, we may not have a set meeting date. However, if you could carry us to your next meeting date and then strike a date at that point and announce it, that would
Well,
be.
we could strike a meeting
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, kind of where we're at.
Let's just.
Yeah, if we can, absolutely.
Like I said, the next available agenda and run this.
There you go. So it's the date,
September 13th.
September 13th, 14th, so September 14th.
And that's at the.
No, it's in the library, so 200 Glen.
Yeah, we use this. Starting in the Bible.
Uh-oh.
If you tell me you'd rather have October
Rich
5th, that
is
works.
cutting around your house.
We're gonna, Rich, unless,
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, no, no. She's gonna be.
so if I may accept the date, I leave Mr. Chairman, and then, if I need to carry it all right, I'll leave.
That's wise, yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah, a lot of-
So September 14th?
September 14th, 2026, commencing at 7 P M. At the, I don't have the exact address.
200 Glen Avenue, which is
Silver
the
Public.
Milford
public library.
Thanks.
Mr. Simon, no further notice.
No further notice is required by the applicant. Unless you're seeking to modify your plan that requires more variance.
And the Knicks are down by only two.
Yeah, it's good.
We're down by 5.
It's 9-3 at one point. So-
Not that I was watching.
Yeah.
And with that, is there anything to discuss this evening that has not been on the agenda?
I'm gonna move to adjourn. Second, all in favor? I'm ready.
Thank you all.
Traditional.